North Korea rejects an offer by its southern neighbor to help boost the North's economy in exchange for giving up nuclear weapons. Kim Yo-jung, the sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, calls the South Korean offer ignorant and the height of folly far from realization. She says the idea of exchanging Pyongyang's nuclear power with economic cooperation is just a dream of Seoul. South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol on Wednesday reiterated the country's willingness to provide economic aid to North Korea if it ends nuclear weapons development and begin denuclearization. It first raised this offer in May. North Korea test-fired a record number of long and short-range missiles over the past months. Our correspondent Jennifer Chang is with us from Seoul. Jennifer, it's good to talk to you. So tell us more about the harsh rhetoric that North Korea's official, the sister of the North Korean leader, has used in order to turn down the offer.
Well, the harsh rhetoric is to be understood by everyone because I'm sure North Korea is shocked by the audacity of the Yoon Suk-yeol administration here in South Korea, which is basically offering the same sort of deal that conservative President Lee Myung-bak, who held office here from 2008 to 2013, offered to North Korea. And of course, that offer was rejected by the North. And some of the worst border incidents between North Korea and South Korea occurred during the Lee Myung-bak administration. Now, the Yoon Suk-yeol administration is trying to engage the North. It's beginning to get alarmed about its inability to talk to North Korea. North Korea is extremely angry because the South is about to hold large-scale military drills in the field with the U.S. for the first time since 2017. And from the 16th to the 19th this week, it has been holding preliminary exercises with the U.S. in the field in preparation for those large-scale drills, which will run from August 22nd to September 1st this year. And they have been sending self-propelled howitzers out into the field. And at the same time, they are making this type of offer to North Korea, which does not even go as far as the offer made by U.S. President Trump to the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un during the summits, the historic summits held for the first time between the U.S. and the North, which of course fell apart over differences between how much the North was willing to denuclearize and how much the Trump administration was willing to lift sanctions and offer security guarantees. So of course, the North Korean leader's sister, who is in charge of inter-Korean affairs, is going to be very upset. And in fact, the North staged cruise missile tests for the first time since January, this week on Wednesday, to show its displeasure with this type of audacious offer from the South, which it can never, ever accept. And also to protest these large-scale military drills in the field, which are going to be taking place here, which are a major provocation against North Korea.
Mm-hmm. Jennifer, now let's discuss the issue from the perspective of South Korea. Yoon has been in office for about 100 days, and we know that opinion polls are now showing declining popularity and support for Yoon because domestically he's currently facing some problems. Now, how is he going to parlay the case of North Korea, the issue of North Korea, and the military exercises with the U.S. into all this?
Well, of course, these North Korea issues that he has a real problem just even dialoguing with the North to try to get it to denuclearize. This is adding to his woes here on the domestic front and his sagging approval ratings, which are the lowest that any South Korean president has had to endure 100 days into office. And these cruise missile tests were just taking place on exactly the 100th day of his office, Wednesday in the morning, before he held a huge speech that day, a press conference with reporters talking about all sorts of issues, including North Korea. This is just a ridiculous situation he is in, and the U.S. has also been very inflexible in the past. They have said they will only negotiate with North Korea if it completely denuclearizes all at once. Well, now that President Yoon is beginning to see the light and starting to take a softer line against South Korea, the U.S. also just said, announcing through its State Department spokesperson, that it is willing to take incremental steps in lifting sanctions and giving aid to North Korea in exchange for little steps towards denuclearization. So that shows you just how afraid the U.S. and South Korea are of North Korea, which is the biggest threat to them in the whole Indo-Pacific region. The North has massive nuclear weapons and ballistic missile capability. And not just that, but other types of weapons, tactical nuclear weapons, for instance, are a big threat. Those can hit South Korea. Its ICBMs loaded with nuclear warheads can break through the U.S. missile defense shield and hit any city in the U.S. And it's just too late to stop North Korea with, say, a decapitation strike, which the Yoon Suk-yeol administration has been foolishly planning. They think that if they can just take out the North Korean leader, that's going to ensure that the North does not, prevail over them in a war, a nuclear war.
Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us. That was Jennifer Chang, our correspondent from Seoul.